Hi friends, this is Barb Pask. Going to do a painting tonight for you. It's an 8x10 panel. Hopefully it won't come falling off of there. It's a hard panel that I ordered from Dick Blick, and I had a couple coats of gesso. Here's the image I'm going to paint for you. This is a photograph I took last year in Indiana. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do to it. I'm trying to do something a little different here. I'm going to flip it. Don't know if you've ever done this before or not. Actually, I'm going to look at the image upside down. I have done this before, and it's a really handy thing to do if you have a complicated photo. What it does is it makes you look at so you don't analyze what you're looking at exactly. You look at shapes and colors. And when this is most useful is when you've got a really complicated photo. Like I did a city scene one time that was just chaotic and crazy and kind of overwhelming. You kind of got lost in the photo. So that's what I did. I turned it upside down. I don't feel that that's the case necessarily with this one. It's not, it's not super complicated. I just thought it would be fun to do. I'm going to grab a palette knife out of here before we get going. Again, my name is Barbara Pask, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. I paint in water mixable oils. This is as tall as my tripod will go, so I've got you angled up a bit. That's about the best I can do. And water mixable oils are oils, but they're water cleanup. They work basically, I think, about the same, and drying time's about the same. So I'm going to tone the canvas first. Went out and painted in my car again the other day. I call it crazy Corona plein air car painting. I've done it many times throughout this. I just feel a little safer, and if the weather isn't great, it's really cool. One day it was raining and I sat in my car and painted, and ran the wipers once in a while so I could see what I was painting. Tricky thing is I'm painting through my front windshield, so I have to get lined up to where my subject is directly in front of me. And you can't just park anywhere, so that's probably the trickiest part of it. So when I want to thin, I use a little water. They do make mediums for the water mixable oils. I don't use them, but they do make them. And if you're you should try them probably and see if you do like them if you're using water mixables. All right, so again, we're going to try not to analyze too much what we're painting. It's you saw it pretty quick, but it's a train car that's parked with some buildings behind it. Not real sure why it was there. It was just cool, and I was there with a group, and we all took photos of it. And all right, so we're going to darken this mixture. Now I do have you could grid off this photo, which would be another helpful tool, absolutely, for you to do if it was a complicated scene. I would at least put 2 vertical lines and 2 horizontal and create a 9 square grid on my canvas if this photo was extremely complicated, and then you could grid the photo. But I'm just winging it here. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm just looking where things hit. Another thing I've seen done too, which is helpful, I saw a guy paint a big building, a very complicated, it looked like it might have been a college, lots of domes and very big. It filled his canvas. And what he did, rather than drawing out meticulously the building and trying to get things right with the building, is he blocked in the sky first. He just blocked in that negative shape of the sky and created the top shape of the building. I thought that was really pretty cool. All right, so now I'm looking, actually, this is my ground. I'm looking at the shape of the sky now. To help me draw in. And I've seen, there was a guy came to the Cincinnati Women's Art Club and he did a demo. He did a boats on the water. He does this a lot, this kind of thing typically, but he didn't turn his photo up till he basically, he had everything blocked in. That's when he turned his photo up for us to see. Interesting. Okay, and then we'll try to, again, not overanalyze. We're going to try to just, there's a big dark shape there. And then we'll keep going across here and try to paint in this negative shape of the sky that we see. Just another thing to try, you know. All right, so that's kind of, I'll hold it back up and show you, kind of the outline of what we got. I looked at the sky, trying to get that negative shape in. So we'll step up to a bigger brush and we'll paint in the darks that we see now. And again, I didn't have to do this. I was just trying something tonight. But I would recommend it if you've got a photo that, again, is, you've seen city scenes like that. I think of a city scene, but there's other things it would work well for. And you got a photo that's just craziness and you're just not sure what you're looking at, because really it's more interesting to the viewer if you don't explain every little picky thing in your photo anyway. So when you turn it upside down, you're not going to be able to do that, and you'll probably end up with a better painting. All right, so we're going to block in the darks where we see them. And there's some little things going on in here, but I'm just going to block it in as one shape. Actually, I think we'll just go across and block in the whole thing as a dark. Come back later on and break it up. Yeah, it's cold here today in Ohio. Hard to believe it's May and we're supposed to stay, we have a freeze warning tonight, and then it's supposed to stay chilly most of the week, and then finally toward the end of the week we're supposed to get into the 70s. I think especially with what's going on, we all could use some warm weather, you know, perk us up a little bit. And all right. It's pretty much the darks that I see. And actually, I don't know, we're going to just figure this out as we go, but I think I'm going to block in the sky now. Get that negative shape in. So I'm taking cobalt blue and white. It's a pretty cloudy sky in the picture. It's not a very dark sky, but of course I can do whatever I want to it. It's my world. And my goal is to get it blocked in and then flip it over and then define it probably as we need to. I don't plan to, you know, I doubt when we flip it over it's going to be exactly everything I want, but and this is the tree here. Thin that down, but too much. And I've toned with the orange, and I do want to leave some of that showing, so. All right, let's look at this shape here. You can see through right there, so there's some blue right there. Some kind of pole sticking up there. That'll be good enough for now. All right, we'll do some of these. There's a kind of a, lots of grays, gray building. This one's, the roof line's a little warmer. Let's go ahead and put that little tree in. We'll take some ultramarine and some Indian yellow. My favorite green. It's a dark, transparent green. And we'll kind of block this tree in here. Painted a Victorian house yesterday in a little town north of here, and just parked on the curb, and I had a view of it, and it was fun. It was a very detailed house, but I had a lot of fun doing it. All right, and we're going to refine that too. What we're trying to do really is to block in, and then we'll flip it over and see where we are. All right, so I'm lightening up this green with some Cad Yellow Medium now. And I'm probably going to put a tiny bit of red in it, kind of kill the intensity of the green. All right, now we're going to look at the bottom of this area and put in the greens that we see. Um, well, let's just move forward. I'm judging the color of that already, and it really is a fairly bright green. My tendency is usually to kill greens and knock them down a little bit. Boy, I'll tell you, in Ohio, we are, and it's probably that way all over. This is where I've been all my life, but in the spring, the greens just glow. All that new green foliage coming back. It's very pretty. I'm doing a giveaway this month, the 13th of May. I will announce the winner, and how you get in on that is I have a video posted. It was a little while back, and it's called Oil Painting Giveaway. So go find that and subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and leave a comment on that painting, and then you'll be in the drawing. It's a little 5x7 painting of a ball jar with flowers in it. Trying to bring more subscribers to my channel, like everybody, I guess. I even did some advertising on Facebook. I tried that. I have done that a few times, but I don't know how helpful that really is. We don't really know what happens either with that. It's a little more brown in the center there. And this little detail, we might do better to add that when we flip it, I don't know. There's a little red building in there. Trying to check out the color of it. It's a little more yellow than that. You know, and you know, I'm just trying to put in what I see now, but you know, it might be that I'll need to even kill the intensity of this so it doesn't take your eye away from my focal point, which I think should be the train. So So right there would be where the train starts. The big blue box, right? We don't care what it is, so. Okay, let me think what I've done here. Yeah, see, I can tell I got some things off here. If this is this building, then I've got this white block, then this actually should be over a little bit, and this should be, let me get a new towel here, move things around a little bit. Yeah, if this is correct, then you move over to here, and this should be gray right here, and come up, and then the red should come over a little further. Yeah, so this is gray here. Okay. And the red comes over a little further. Okay. Again, when we flip things over, we'll analyze a little bit better what we've got and see what we need to move around. But it can save you a lot of time too. I mean, instead of, you know, you get it in quicker and then you can flip it over and start tweaking it. You know what I've done? I chair a group, and sometimes we do exercises, and I have, maybe I can show you one. Yeah, here we go. Here's a couple. I have printed up photos before, and see the string, I run string across them. And we've done it just for this exercise. See, here's a couple. I got a stack of them. And what I have people do is section off their canvas into 9 squares, and then you turn it upside down. And you paint what you see in each block. So it's even a simpler, you know, you paint just what you see here in your center square, for example. Get the idea? Like this is the only thing you'd paint in that center square. And then when you flip it over, you'd be surprised. They look pretty good, and they're pretty far along by the time you flip it over. Yeah, we've done that a few times. That's pretty fun. Same idea here. I just didn't section off my canvas or anything. But that's, you know, even a simpler way. All right, so we're going to do this down here. And actually, I may keep that a little darker than it looks in the photo, because I I don't want to draw your eye down there. But again, we'll adjust whatever we need to adjust when we get there. I hope you can see okay. Like I said, I know I've got you. I'm standing tonight, so, and it's always a bit more of a problem when I stand because everything's higher. And again, I don't want to hide all my tone, so we'll just kind of quickly block this in. It's an unusual kind of scene. Like I said, it's not it's on a bit of a train track, I think, sitting there, but kind of different. All right, now we'll go to painting the big blue block. I'm looking at, it actually is very similar to the sky color. I'm thinking maybe to make it more interesting though, I might put some phthalo blue out here. Got some someplace. Phthalo blue's a beautiful color. I don't normally have it on my palette. I work in a limited palette typically. A warm and cool of each primary and white, and then transparent red oxide and Indian yellow. But like I said, I think we'll put a little bit of that out, change the color a little bit that way. We'll see how it looks. I think that's what makes this train car interesting, is the color. So I'm pulling in intentionally a little more turquoisey, and you know, and we'll see. You know, maybe that won't work, but see, it's going to really stand out this way. So I don't know. Am I going to like that? I can't really tell at this point. It definitely is going to draw your eye there. I may not like it. I may on the back of it, it's a little darker, so let's darken it up a little bit. switch to a brush. It's a bit smaller. Very light right there. We went out and bought a pizza tonight. That's the first time we've eaten out since all of this has started. We eat at home every night, just, you know, kind of afraid to even pick up food. Getting a little tired of all this stuff. Going to try to resist turning it over for quite a while, you know, see what I can do without flipping it. Anyway, another exercise to try if you So we're painting here recently. Sold a painting I did of a violin a while back. Sold it to an artist friend of mine. I just don't think there's a bigger compliment than to have another artist buy your work. She's a good artist and I respect her work a lot, so it's really, really flattering. This back area, I can see this needs to be darker. Compared to this, it's darker like this. And we could turn it over now, and maybe we should. The way I could determine whether I like this turquoisey blue I used. There's a little tail light, little orangey light there. Down in here, there's a bunch of foliage. And it may be too intense to be on the edge. For now, I'm just trying to kind of put in what I see, and then we'll judge it when we flip it. The tree's a lot darker than I've got it. The house I did yesterday was a Victorian. I think I said that, but the way I did that was kind of blocked in all the shapes of it. And then I took my palette knife, and with my palette knife, it had a lot of trim on it, and I laid in all the trim I saw everywhere. It was really fun, and that explained the house, pretty well. Just refining some of this stuff a little bit. Okay, this goes all the way over. And the roof it's a little too intensely orange. I'll gray it down a little bit. And again, we can, I can see in here wheels and stuff. They're very subtle. So I'm going to have to do that when I turn it over. All right. We're about to flip him over. Before I do, I'll show you what I've got. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I don't have yet, too. I mean, a lot of detail. Okay, I'll show you. Again, I kicked up the color of the train to a much more turquoisey kind of color. All right, what we're going to do is flip him over now. And we'll flip our photo over. Okay, now we'll flip our photo over. Okay, that's upright. Not sure what you can tell, what you can see. All right, so things are blocked in. Now I got a problem. I don't have room here for my iPad. Wait, let's take off our cover. See if that'll work. There we go. All right. All right, let's start looking now. All right, let me see what I like and what I don't like. I am going to kill this some. I'm not sure I love that bright blue. So we will pull some of it back here though, even though this is darker. That'll help pull that together. And then we're going to pull those details down so they don't catch. Not bad though. I mean, I'll move you over, see what you can tell. That's where it is. There's the photo. See, so everything is there, blocked in. So now, you know, we're to the point that we can develop it and decide how far we want to take it. All right. Some of this might be fun to do with a palette knife. The train, in my opinion, is my focal point. I think that's what I'm going to play around with first and see what I want to do to it. Trying to look where things lay in relation to the windows and stuff. Never gave that little part much thought up there. Let's clean that up a little bit. When you're looking at it upside down, you don't always even know what you're looking at, which is the idea, I mean. I have painted a few trains before. We've got a cute little train station in a town north of here, and I've done their train a few times. They actually run that train. I don't know how often, but little passenger train. There's a couple windows here that I just now saw. They're actually pretty gray, but lighter. And that one up there is darker. You wonder why anybody would bring home train cars and put them on their property, huh? Years ago, we lived by some people that had a caboose in their yard that they had restored. Now that was really cute. They would use it for parties and stuff. I like using the palette knife. You get, imperfect things, which is okay with me. Well, depends on how you use it, I guess. Zoom in a little bit on some of that to see what I can see. I make a lot of videos, most every time, not every time, but frequently I film while I paint, but you don't see a lot of them for one reason or another. Sometimes I'm not thrilled with the painting. You know how that is. I want to get that pretty light because you're seeing through there. And I like that. These windows are pretty light too, though I think I have them fairly light. Frequently windows reflect the sky, you know, and all right, let's look at some of this stuff going on down under here. Strange things are going on down there. Oh. All right, this apparently back in here is where people stepped out of the train. So there's a step here. All right, let's look at this stuff underneath, see what we can do with that. How are we doing on time? About 55 minutes. Well, I encourage you to try this. Find a photo look for a photo, one that's a little complicated, and if you want to help yourself out a lot, grid off your canvas first, you know, and then paint in each block. Grid off your photo, grid off your canvas, and paint in each square what you see, and give that a try. We may take a palette knife to some of this so it stands out a little more. Some unusual things going on down here. A lot of people paint subjects that they're very familiar with, and I can see that. I mean, you have a better understanding of what you're painting. But you can't overanalyze it either when you don't understand it. That's the other side of it. But if you're going to sell it to somebody that's into trains, you know, I guess it has to make sense, doesn't it? I painted motorcycles for donations, and went over and photographed them at the motorcycle Harley Davidson shop near us, and then donated them to fundraisers. And I don't know how well they come across to, you know, to the people that are bidding on them. I try hard to replicate what I see. You know, one thing too is that painting like we have and we toned the canvas. And let me see if I can show you something. We have that orange color underneath. Of course, if you scratch hard, you would go back to the white. But you can take, you know, like a pointy stick like this and scratch back for some of this detail too. When I paint animals that have white whiskers, and I do it all a la prima, you know, wet into wet, sometimes I'll scratch in their whiskers. Actually, yesterday when I painted, there was a stop sign on the corner, and I scratched in the word stop. You know, it was white, and I scratched all the way back to the white canvas. It looked really pretty good. Or you can just use it to scratch in, you know, draw in kind of what you're going to paint, and then come back and paint on top of it. That's another thing you can do. Do it with a palette knife or a stick or anything. All right, I'm looking up here to see. Oh, okay, this is like another separate car up here. And a couple little steps up there. Of course, they're a lot smaller, obviously. Kind of stick them in. All right, let's look around, see how much more detail we think is important, you know. Let's look at the greenery now that we flipped it over. We got this scruffy stuff coming up and over into there. Actually runs down into there. I want to define that track a little more. Scruffy stuff all up here. All right, let's see if we can get that track in a little bit better. You can see a piece of it. have almost a too perfect looking tree. You know, my tendency is to want to pull it over a little more, break it up. Just a little ball standing there. And we got a lot of foreground, so we may want to think about that. You know, would it improve it to bring the grass out some? I think it might. Let's get our rubber knife out. I don't think I got it out. Yes, I did. This is a tool I like to use a lot. I've showed it before. It is a Catalyst by Princeton. It's like a rubber palette knife. I've got several sizes. This is probably my favorite. We're going to go over the foreground with this. Okay, so it's basically kind of a neutral gray. So we're just going to kind of throw everything together. But I don't want to get it too light because I don't want to pull your eye away from all of that. I'm just playing around and throwing a bunch of stuff together here. Stuff that's on my palette just to make a gray. I used this thing yesterday in my painting. I had the house all in and I just needed the grass in the foreground and the sidewalk, and I used this for all of it, and I like this thing. I'm going to bring the grass down a little bit to meet it, I think. And maybe throw some, I don't know what we're doing yet. Maybe throw some of the sky color down in there. Just playing around, not worried about, you know, if we mess it up, we wipe it off. Try not to paint my iPad. But this is a fun tool. You can like create grasses with it, and let me get some of that off of there. you can like cut up into, see, when you tone you can create like grasses that way. Of course we don't want that here, but so just trying to create some interesting texture in the foregrounds and variations. In the sky, this is how we left it. What do we think of it now? It's very, very cloudy in the photo. I don't know that that matters because there's not a lot of it showing, and I don't want to do anything to take away from what we got going on down here. So I'm probably just gonna leave it pretty much like that. All right. All right, I think we're gonna about call it. You know, we could get all picky with detail on all this stuff, but again, that's not our focal point. I do want to clean that up a little bit. It's kind of an unusual scene with all these little abandoned buildings and the train car sitting here, isn't it? Trying to get a little more dark at the base of some of these buildings. Maybe. I said this is right in a town, actually, over in Indiana. All right, we're going to quit there. I'm not saying it's perfect. I kind of wiped all the paint off right there. I don't think there's any such thing as a perfect painting, is there? I've never painted one. All right, we're going to call it. Let me show you what I got. How long we've been at it? 1 hour and 11 minutes. Please like and subscribe, and again, make sure you sign up to win that painting. Just subscribe and leave a comment. Make sure you leave a comment, and I'll announce a winner on the 13th, next Wednesday. So there's our painting. Again, it's all about the, not all about, but I feel like the focal point's the train. Got some good light in it, and the houses are very loose and suggested. There's our, but you know, we blocked in most of it upside down. Try that, really, it's fun, and you get the canvas covered quickly and you don't overthink it, and yeah, if you do it, let me know. All right, thank you for joining me, and we'll paint again soon. Bye-bye.